what we did in the other ones. Okay, so we have two-step equations. Step 1, eliminate the constant by first adding or subtracting. Step 2, change the coefficient to 1, that invisible 1, by dividing or multiplying. Okay, so example number 1. What is the number that's constant? That means it's not a variable, it doesn't have variables, it's just a number. It's an 8, good. So we want to start by getting rid of that. So to get rid of it, we do the opposite. It's a plus 8, so what gets rid of a plus 8? Minus 8, very good. So that gives us 3n equals negative 6. The reason they're called two-step problems is because they have two steps. One step is to add or subtract a number to the other side, and the other step is to divide or multiply to get rid of the other coefficient number so that we have the variable by itself. So in this case, we have 3 times n. What do we do to get rid of the 3 that's multiplying? Divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. So that will be 3 divided by 3, which is that invisible 1. And then negative 6 divided by 3, which gives us a negative 2. So that equation equals negative 2. Or that variable n equals negative 2. Now you know how on our last page solving one-step equations, it was suggested that we try to keep the variable on the left side. Is that a requirement? It is not required to keep our variable on the left side. Sometimes it's just easier for our variable to be on the right side, and we can just leave it there. Okay, so in number 2, look at where the variable is. Notice how the variable is on the right side. We also have a plus 1. We want to get the variable by itself. So, are we going to get rid of the 1 or get rid of the 12? Get rid of the 1 that's with the variable thing so we can get the variable by itself, or get rid of the 12? I would recommend getting rid of the 1 because if you decide to get the 12, then you actually need to move your variable stuff to the other side, and it will be on the left hand. Then that turns our two-step equation into like 3 or 4 steps. So to keep it as a one-step equation, we're just going to keep that variable group on the right and subtract the 1 from both sides. So that will give us 11 equals n over 9. So now we want to get n by itself. It's currently dividing by 9. We need to get rid of the division by 9. So we just have 1n. How do we get rid of division? Multiply. So we're going to take and multiply both sides by 9. That turns that into 9n divided by 9, so the 9's cancel out. And then on this side, we have to do 9 times 11, so 99. So even though n is on the right side, we still found an answer for n. 99 is the value of n, and it doesn't really matter that n is on the right side. You can switch it to the left side now that you've solved it. Just say n equals 99. It means the same thing. All right, do you want to try a couple on your own? Or just let me work on it on Khan Academy? Try a couple of these on your own. Should we do 2 more together? Choose 2 more to do together. Number 7 looks a little scary. Is there another one that looks daunting that you want to go through together? Number 5? Okay, so number 5. So we're going to start by adding the constant. What's the constant on number 5? How do I know I'm going to add it instead of subtract it? We have a negative 8 is our constant next to our variable, and we want that to be away from the variable. We want the variable by itself. So we're going to add our 8 to both sides. That leaves us with negative a over 10, and then we're adding 8 to negative 24. Help me out with that math. Negative 24 plus 8. I think it's negative 16. Did I do that right? Negative 24 plus 8. Raise your hand. I think I got that right. Sometimes I get things like that wrong, so I need your help to check my answers. Yeah? Okay, good. All right, now we need to get the a by itself, but the weird thing is it's a negative a. What gets rid of a negative? Yeah, if we add something to it that makes it bigger to turn it into a positive, but in this case we have a weird fraction too, so I don't really want to add a positive to it. How do we turn it into a positive? It's negative. What if we multiply it by a negative number? Would that turn it positive? So we have this 10, we're dividing by 10. We want to do the opposite of dividing by 10, which is multiply by 10. However, instead of multiplying by 10, I'm actually going to have us multiply by negative 10. Even though the negative isn't on the 10, the negative is on the a. Honestly, if you have a negative in the numerator, it makes the entire fraction negative. That doesn't mean there would also be a negative in the denominator. It just means that the negative could be either in the numerator or the denominator or just out in front. The fraction just has a negative value. So if we multiply by a negative 10, we're getting rid of the negative and getting rid of the divided by 10. So the negative 10 times the negative 8 turns it into positive, and then we have 10 divided by 10, which goes to 1. So that gives us our 1a. We just have to do our negative 16 times negative 10. What does that give us? Negative 16 times negative 10 gives us positive 160. Yes. Positive 160. Okay, let's look at number 7 together. 7 has a little bit of a weird thing going on. Our instructions said we should add or subtract the constant and then multiply or divide to get rid of the coefficient. But this one is strange because the constant is actually in the numerator of the fraction. So that kind of means there's like parentheses grouping that numerator together, and we actually need to get rid of the 2 first. And to get rid of a 2 that's dividing, we're going to multiply by 2. So this one is strange because it's going to have us do them in the opposite order. So we're going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 2. That gets rid of this 2, so we have 6 plus t. And then 12 times 2 on that side is 24. That got rid of that weird fraction first. And now we can add or subtract our constant. So we have a 6 that we need to move to the other side. How do we move a positive 6 to the other side? Let's subtract it. That gives us t equals 18. Okay, we've done enough talking today. You have quite a bit of stuff you can work on, and I can give you more time to work on it on Thursday as needed. Okay, going back to finish the questions or the examples. We've got question 3. We're going to add 3 to both sides, which gives us 4p equals negative 28. And we're going to divide both sides by 4, which gives us p equals negative 7. Next, we're going to add this 45 to both sides. That gives me 6d equals 90. I'm going to divide both sides by 6. So d will equal 15. Number 6, subtract 5 from each side. That gives us 2x equals negative 18. Divide sides by 2, x equals negative 9. Okay, and last, number 8. Add 8 to both sides, which gives us negative 3y equals 33. Divide both sides by negative 3. Y will equal negative 11. So on every problem except for number 7, and that's because it was geared with the constant in the fraction, we added or subtracted the constant first, and then we divided or multiplied by the number to get the variable by itself, and got an answer from the variable.